my setup here, I'm going to go ahead and give you an overview of all the tools and everything I'm going to be working with today. I'll provide some links to my channel. Hope everybody goes and clicks on these and does this project for themselves. It's really easy. Great way to at least turn some old cabinets or anything you have lying around, throw it in your concrete. Don't feel like, oh, I'm scared to drill in concrete. It's going to crack the foundation. There's nothing like that's going to happen to your house. Don't worry. And it's very simple. You're making a tiny hole, 3/8 of an inch. Nothing you have to worry about at all. All the precautionary measures we're going to use today. Of course, you want to measure everything before you get started. So, first things up, I'm going to show you the 3-inch anchor expansion bolts. So these are the concrete anchor expansion bolts. You'll notice it has this part, which is actually the anchor expansion. Once it is nailed, or I guess in this case, you take a hammer and kind of slam it in there in your concrete. You're going to drill a hole that's 3/8 of an inch. Notice it does say it here, 3/8 of an inch hole. Once that goes in, you must hammer it in up to that point. If you do not, if you hammer it up to here, it's just going to stop and be like, well, this thing still spins. You have to lock this entire thing, because this top part will spin. It's separate from the anchor expansion. So the anchor expansion has to be nailed up. So you want to make sure you got your measuring tape and be like, okay, well, that's about 1 1/2 inch. So basically what I would do is measure the depth of your cabinet, and okay, my cabinet's about 3/4 of an inch thick, generally what you're working with here, plus 1 1/2 inches. Okay, so add that up, that's 2 1/4 inches. So ultimately, what I want to do then is measure my drill bit that I'm going to use. I have to actually use 2 drill bits here. Use a wood drill bit. I have a Bosch set here. This is this general 3/8 inch drill bit. I'm going to go to use this to get the drilling process started only through the cabinet for the wood, and then you're going to stop. And then next up, once you make that hole, I have a masonry drill bit set. Got these on Amazon. You'll notice you have kind of like a wing tip here. It's great for getting the actual process started. It's a little challenging to drill through concrete. I have all the anchor expansion bolts here. All you'll ever need. These hold hundreds of pounds. Just being really safe. Already pre-drilled 4 holes in the wood, as you'll see. And I'll do the masonry drilling next, since that can be a bit challenging. Make sure I get that all on camera. And cool little fact here, I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to measure it out, and just so everyone can see, I'm going to say, okay, 2 1/4. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have that hole. So that's how deep the hole needs to be, ideally, so it fits through. I mean, you probably want to do another 1/2 inch just to give you some wiggle room. Once you get it out, because this thing has a washer, you definitely want to account for that when you're nailing this thing on. So you want to make sure you can catch a few threads. Ultimately this is going to be in the wall, and you want to make sure, as far as it's going, whatever surface that you're dealing with, you're going to have to get this in there and make sure it's nice and deep and secure. So before we get started, measure this. Like, all right, 2 1/4. Make a note about right there. I'm going to wrap a piece of tape there, and I'm going to drill, and only going to drill to 2 1/4. Once you see that tape starting to get close to the hole, you stop drilling altogether, because you don't want to go too deep in the concrete. You don't need to drill more than necessary. So I'll pause here, and I'll move to the next segment of the video. All right, so for the next phase of this video, I'm going to be doing some drilling. Kind of eliminate the holes here. Already pre-drilled the holes with the wooden drill bit. Again, this is the Bosch 3/8 inch wood drill bit, just because it's a lot easier to get the hole started when you're using a wooden drill bit versus a masonry. It doesn't really catch well in wood, so don't bother. You're just going to waste your time. That being said, let's move on. I have this taped, as we had stated. Only need to go a certain distance. Already measured out the depth of a cinder block, which is about 1 1/2 inches. I want to make sure I get to the end of that cinder block. You don't really need to go any further. And then this is about 3/4 of an inch. I want about 1 inch or so. It's giving me about 1/4 inch of play, so I can make room for that washer when I'm bolting everything up to the wall. So let's go ahead and get started. Start with this hole up here. Make sure you set your drill to hammer mode. If everybody can see that, the hammer mode there. This will give it that nice impact. When it's drilling, you'll kind of feel it'll flex back and forth, but this is the motion whereby only in masonry would you be using this hammer drill setting. It's going to hammer away. Makes it far more effective than a normal drill, just zing, 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 going through its motion. So let's go and get started here. Ugh. Oh yeah. All right. That was pretty easy. You know, not too much clutter, nothing you have to worry about. I pre-drilled a good deal of these holes, so you know, go ahead and we'll do the next 4 holes. I'll kind of speed this up just to make life easy. You know, we'll get to the harder part, which is mounting and nailing these into the wall and ensuring that they are secure. So. Alright, and for the next part of the video, we're going to want to move this cabinet aside and kind of have a makeshift stand, I guess you want to call it here. I'm going to make sure that we can move this to the left. I'll start to drill, at least to nail in these 2 holes over here first, and I'll do those 2 next. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, and you can see the holes here. I'll kind of give you a different perspective. The holes that were drilled in concrete. Ready to go. Make sure you didn't want to drill them in the slag, or I guess the in-between filler here, something you don't want to worry about, but if that's the case, I'm going to start to hammer them in the wall. You got to hit them pretty hard, and I would advise not to try and undo this screw. You know, given it will strip if you try and, you know, use it as a support and unscrew all of a few threads. It's going to at least destroy the threads in my experience, unless there's less of a gap here and it was just a full-on threaded. But in this case, hit this, you're not going to damage it, you're not going to break it, don't worry about it. For this part, we're going to take this, move this away for now, and we're going to hit this in. Pretty simple, right? 3/8 inch hole. Make sure we cover it up to here, and we're golden. Alright, that's not going anywhere. One more. So everybody can see, it's nailed in all the way up to the threads. Threads are exactly where I want to be. All I need to tighten, and they have flexibility. Alright, let's do this. Okay, next side. much better shot just to see how this goes in the wall. So, as I'm hitting this, not too much force. Once that anchor bolt gets in there, it's not coming out. Almost. A few more hits. And that should be good. Can't turn, can't twist. And for this last part, we're now going to line up the cabinet in the holes. This is not going to be easy, but hopefully give you a better perspective of what things look like. I'll kind of leave this light over here-ish, hopefully to illuminate where this is going. Whoops. We got one more. Looks like we got two that want to fit through. That's good. Where's that one? Down a little bit. All right, got one side on. And we got two. All right. Try the same one. Second thought, we don't really need that. Let's just grab a wrench and do this by hand so I can tell. And this thing is a little bit too powerful for this job. So be smarter on these two. Let's see where we end up. That's it. As long as it's hand tightened, I think we're fine here. Same with this one. And once you start to encounter some resistance, I'd stop. All right, moment of truth. Does this thing work? Sure hope so. Not be a lot of wasted time here. I'm gonna remove the drill and the mounts, and we are going to see. All right. Okay, so make sure we can recap the steps here. Started with, it's pretty much a blank wall here. Got some, I guess, makeshift support, added the cabinet up here, and ultimately we now have a freestanding, really easy. I'm probably going to have to drill some cabinet knobs on here, but all in all, hey, look at this. Probably holds 100, 200 pounds, whatever the weight limit is. I mean, it could have been safe with 3, but I was like, let's just be ultra safe, and we'll do 4. I'm sure I can pull down this. It's not going anywhere, as you see. Very secure, tight, snug, and ready for action. Next step will be fabricating a piece of wood to put over these cabinets to act as a workbench, and also bring you some of the car stereo improvement videos. That does it for my video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.